all this, I found, so much happened that it just shows you that God can just bring good out of whatever Satan meant for evil. He can turn around and use for good. So I've got a real great testimony about how God did a miracle in my neck and shoulder, and how He ministered to this woman that went back to church and got baptized in the Holy Spirit and rededicated her life, and and the doctor that was just amazed by what was happening, because she was used to working with accidents, and she couldn't hardly believe that I was going, this was happening. She goes to New Life, and so she's used to
to see your extent of your injuries, and you're doing
injury
so
and
good.
saw that so well. So I thought, wow, I did suffer, some through that, and so when the Lord, showed me so much about suffering, that we do suffer, and when we do suffer, and that when we do, it's like when that happens, you get so much closer to God through all that, and you grow in so many different ways, and people want to leave that out, but that's all part of our walk with Him. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Now Vicki's over there. I see her eyes. She does that.
A couple of things that went through my mind as you were speaking is He knows whom He can use.
Yeah.
Now, why did you have to go through that accident? You had to, and this is where I'm coming from.
Right.
You had to go through it so that you could meet the people that you did meet. So He had this all planned out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your life would have been, it could have been worse. It could have, your pain could have been worse. You could have gone through traction, operations, and whatnot. Then the second thing is, now I forgot what the second thing was, but He knows. He just knows whom to pick for what situations.
Was it the young lady that she led to Christ? Was that?
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
And when I remember, I'll pop in.
Yeah.
But that's what went through my mind.
You know what goes through my mind too is, and you and I, Vicki was at the station with me a couple of hours ago, and we were talking. God knows everything. He said, "I'm the Alpha and I'm the Omega," and He knows everything in between. And we were talking about this. Now, tell me if I'm the only one that does this. I know the Word, okay, but when things happen, fear and doubt and all that creep into me, and I have to fight it.
Yeah, I know what I had to say now.
Yeah, well, say it then. Go ahead and say it.
You said that when we go through these things, that it brings us closer to Him. My mind went to, how did Christianity spread way back when, 2,000 years ago? 1,500 years ago. How did it spread? By persecution.
Yes.
By persecution.
Exactly.
Sometimes we're so complacent, and we're so content where we are. Me and no more. What's that thing? Me for and no more, or whatever. That when God says once, me to be over there, hey, but I'm too comfortable here. I'm not even thinking of over there. Well, okay, honey, I'm going to make your life a little miserable because you're part of my plan to get you over there.
So, let me, you know where I'm going with this. Okay. So what you're saying, Vicki, God makes our life kind of uncomfortable to get us where we're at, but God's good.
That's right. He's doing it for our good.
So that's what I'm saying.
I have plans for you, not for evil, but for good.
Right, and this is what Lydia and I was talking about. You can have, my faith has been like, and then all of a sudden something will happen, and I'll quote the word, I'll speak the word, but I'm doing the right thing, because it says speak, the power of life and death are in the tongue. But inside I'm kind of shaking and doubting at the same time. Am I the only one that has done that?
No, I think that's just human nature. I think that's just human nature, that fear, and it doesn't mean that the word is not in us. It's just that the enemy, like this morning, I was praying, and all of a sudden I had this weirdest dream, and I went to rebuking the devil, because it was this dream of people wrapped up and they were dead. And it was just weird to me, because I was praying totally about something else. And
now, you were praying, it was a dream or a vision?
No, I think it was because I was in between.
Okay,
I was in between, so it could have been a vision, because I was in between.
In between that sleep and everything.
Yeah, and I was up, and it was just weird. But like you say, you'll get that feeling of nervousness, or
of
you know,
anxiety or like you say, because I've got comfortable a couple of times, but I don't stay there. I wish I could. But like you're saying, so we're comfortable, like you're comfortable, and all of a sudden you're just going back your merry way. And boom.
You know, I think too sometimes the Lord just tests us too to see, you know, the word in us is tested. Not too long ago, my husband and I were driving, and he was going to the doctor. I was sitting in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden the brakes failed.
Ooh.
I mean, he couldn't stop it. He couldn't stop the brake, and he was trying his best. He tried to turn the ignition off and the brake pedal, everything. Nothing would happen. We were getting ready to hit this building, and I cried out, "Oh, Jesus, help!"
Yeah, and that's what saved you.
You know, the brakes. Right then. Right then. And my son came, and he drove the car. The brakes were fine.
This same thing. Okay, go ahead. Finish.
No, I'm through. It's just crying out. He's our very present help in time of trouble. That word, I saw the word there, right there.
It's his name.
The name.
My husband and I were coming home from Boston maybe about 8-9 years ago, and we had stopped for lunch.
Yeah.
And we had a turkey sandwich. Now, you know, there's something in turkey that makes you sleepy.
Yeah, I've always heard that.
That's a true statement, too.
Because every Thanksgiving, you know, we have our meal and everybody goes, like this.
It is
but
something
anyway,
turkey.
So I said to my husband, will you drive? Usually I do most of the driving. I said, will you drive and let me take about an hour or two nap, you know, while we're driving. He says, yeah, no problem. So we're driving. Well, I don't know how much time went by, and all of a sudden I feel the bum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum-ba-da-bum, and that jolted me. He had fallen asleep while driving, and what happened was he veered to his left. There's a 5-inch drop, about a 5-inch drop. He did the thing that he always told me not to do, is don't jerk your wheel back. When he jerked the wheel back, he went out of control. This is the way we're going. Now we dropped on the other side, 5 inches or whatever. But we went down an embankment, and all I could see is going down, coming up, and there's a wall of grass, dirt, a mound. And I'm thinking, we're going to ram into that. And I yelled down, Jesus, help. The name of Jesus.
Yes.
The name of Jesus has power.
Our very present help in times of trouble.
Yes.
The word became so real. You know how the word will become so real in situations that you face?
Yes.
And that's the word. That's the word.
Yeah.
But then you said something else. I'm sorry,
No, go, Vicki, go.
You said something else, testing. And immediately my mind went to Job. You know, Job was a very wealthy man, a very wealthy man.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when God said to Satan, "Oh, what are you doing here?" What, he didn't know. You know, so I'm reading that and I'm thinking, no, God is saying, you don't belong